Commission meeting for November 7th. We welcome all our friends and neighbors and members of the public here. All our meetings are open to the public, and we're happy to have folks here. First order of business is to call the roll. Sheila?
Yes, sir. John Landis.
Here.
Carlene Dark Bays.
Here.
Clint Childs.
Here.
Michael Carmichael.
Here.
Christina Davis.
Here.
Philip Umber.
Here.
David Hudson.
Present. The Planning and Zoning Commission makes recommendations to the City Council. Agenda item PD 23-019 will be heard by the City Council at its regular meeting on Wednesday, November the 8th, 2023, commencing at 9 a.m. All other items approved today will be heard by the City Council at its regular meeting on Wednesday, December 13th, commencing at 9 a.m. If you received a notice for this meeting, you should also have received a notice for the City Council meeting. Only the City Council makes financial decisions. If an item is denied the applicant's 10 calendar days to file a written appeal with the Planning Department, the appeal will then be acted upon by the City Council. If you're here to speak for or against an item, please state your name and address for the record. Comments should be limited to 5 minutes or less, although extensions of time may be granted by the chair upon request. At the conclusion of this meeting, we generally have our work session and to deal with the next meeting, and that will occur at the conclusion of this meeting, and it will be held in the Tyler Development Center across the street at 423 West Ferguson in the large conference room. Our first order of business is minutes from the last meeting. Commissioners had an opportunity to review those. Any questions, corrections, changes?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve minutes as is. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve those minutes. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. The first zoning item on our agenda is PD 23-019, Jeremy Thomas, and that's the item that will be heard at the council meeting and on the, what is it?
8th.
The 8th. Ronnie?
Yes. Good afternoon, Commissioners, and good afternoon to everyone here today. This is a PCD final site plan approval. This has been request for a property that is located in the northwest of Old Bullard Road and Timberwile Drive. The applicant is requesting the site plan. It is a PCD zoned property, but there's no site plan attached to it, so they're coming with the proposal for a site plan. It's for an insurance office and a cryotherapy salon. Looking at the surrounding zoning, the property to the north is RPO and it has a nail salon. The property to the east and south is PCD and it has commercial uses. And you see the properties to the west are R1A, that is single family. The future land use guide identifies this as single family, medium low density. No, it says multifamily. And this would change to general commercial because it's a PCD, it's a commercial zone. The applicant is proposing for the site plan. They are currently demolishing the building that's existing, and they're proposing this. They're moving the building a little to the north and the parking lot to the south. This will be the same use that they had before for the Allstate Insurance and the cryotherapy salon. And also in the PCD site plan, they're limiting the uses to office and the personal services, because since it's residential district is to the west of it. We want to make sure that there's no higher intense commercial use there, so they're limiting it to office. And also there was a driveway on Old Bullard, and they're proposing to remove that and just have a driveway on Timberwile along with the sidewalks. Also, a type B buffer yard is proposed to the west, adjacent to the residential, and that's the current building that's planning to be demolished.
So, Ronnie, I think that building's already built.
Oh, it's gone. Okay. Out of the notices that was sent, one was received in favor and none in opposition to the request, and staff has performed a technical review of this request and finds that this is consistent with the approval criteria, and staff recommends approval of this site plan.
Thank you. Any questions for Veronica? All right, I don't show anybody who signed up to speak on this item, or the persons here who would like to speak on this zoning item for or against. If not, is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve PD 23-019.
A second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Items approved. Next is Z23-035, Variant OFC Tyler LLC. Veronica?
This is a zone change from M1 Light Industrial District to C2 General Commercial District. This property is located along the southwest loop at the intersection of Earl Campbell Parkway. The applicant is proposing the zone change to allow for medical and office uses. Looking at the surrounding zoning, north, east, and south is zoned M1 in its location of Optimum in TJC and, Tyler ISD and an undeveloped property to the south. In the left, Sam's Club, and it's all commercial uses to the west. The applicant's, let's look at the future land use guide. This identifies as business office park, and this would be consistent, the proposal would be consistent with the future land use guide. Previously, they had Furnaces call center in that building, and right now, the current applicant is proposing to have medical services with ambulatory services as well, and that is not an allowed use in M1, so they're coming to C2, and that will be consistent with all the surrounding zonings as well. Out of all the notices that was sent, none was received in favor or in opposition to the request, and staff recommends approval of the zone change from M1 to C2.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Veronica?
That property to the south, didn't we just change that to C2 from M1?
That's correct.
Okay.
On the opposite side of Earl Campbell.
Yeah, it shows M1, but I think that one just got changed.
Yeah, I think that's right. Last time. All right, the only person signed up to speak on this item is Mark Wiley. Mr. Wiley.
I'm just here for questions.
Great. Any questions for Mr. Wiley? Councilman. If not, are there other persons who would like to speak on this item for or against? If they're not, is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve.
All right, motion's been made to approve.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Items approved. Next is C23-006, Tyler Realty LLC.
Caleb.
Caleb.
It's okay. It's only been 3
Sure,
years.
okay.
Yeah. This is a thoroughfare closure request of unimproved portions of Commercial Drive and Republic Drive. This is located to the west of Hospitality Health ER along southwest loop. This portion was originally intended to be developed, I believe, with a commercial park. That has not been the case. As you can see here, the property is not developed. There are small portions that are developed of Commercial Drive and Republic Drive there, but the applicant is Hospitality Health ER, who owns, as I mentioned, the adjacent property to the east, and so they're planning on closing this to replat it all as part of their expansion efforts that they have for their property. Of the 9 notices that were sent out, none were returned in favor or in opposition to the request. Staff has reviewed the closure. One more thing to mention as well. as it concerns to the replatting of this property, because that would create these dead-end streets. As part of the platting process, they'd be required to either provide temporary turnarounds or show a cul-de-sac or some way of kind of turning those streets away from being a dead end. But that would be done during the platting process. You can see here kind of the portion that is actually intending to be closed. As I mentioned, of the 9 notices that were sent out, none were returned in favor or in opposition. Staff has reviewed the request and recommends approval of this closure.
It's a lot of replanting.
Yes, a lot. It's a big area.
Are there any questions for Caleb? If not, I don't have, so show that anybody signed up to speak on this item. Is there anybody here who would like to speak on this item for or against? If not, is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion we approve C 23-006.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item's approved. Next is Z23-034 SEC Investment LLC.
Yes, this is a zone change request from PMXD 1. It's a planned mixed-use district to C1, which is light commercial, located along Troop Highway, very close to Troop in the Loop. This is the portion here. The adjacent properties are zoned PMXD 1, and C1 is actually a portion of that larger PMXD 1 that's there to the east. This request is consistent with the future land use guide, which identifies the property as a mixed-use center. This is the property here. It's that building there on the corner. The applicant is requesting the zone change to allow for a restaurant to be used on that property. So similar to the one that Tarani mentioned earlier, this property was previously zoned C1A, which is no longer a zoning within the city of Tyler. When that zoning was removed, the properties were rezoned to this PMXD1, but it's a planned district without a site plan. So instead of doing a site plan for this property, the applicant has opted to just go to a straight C1 commercial zoning, which is consistent with the rest of the properties there in that area. But as I mentioned, the property owner is intending to develop the property with a restaurant. Right, correct. So the property is being redeveloped. They're not planning on reutilizing that existing structure. And so because of that, since there's no site plan associated with it, they would have to come in under the current zoning, amend the site plan, kind of go through that process, which would be substantially more than just to allow a commercial use. So that's why they've opted to just do the straight commercial zoning. Of the 9 notices that were sent out, none were returned in favor or in opposition. Staff has reviewed the request and finds that it's consistent with approval criteria, and staff recommends approval of the zone change.
Great. Any questions for Caleb?
Can you go back one slide, please? Is this the... Okay, so this is the Roofs and Salsaritas building? Okay.
Yes.
Just curious. Okay.
Any other questions for John? Did you get what you needed? Any other questions for Caleb? All right, no one has signed up to speak on this item, or the persons here who'd like to speak on this item for or against? Yes, sir, if you'd come to the microphone and state your name and address for that.
Yeah, I'm John Patterson. Do you need any other information, sir?
What's your address?
My address is 2008 Chesapeake Forest Drive. So this part, the property owner did actually send in a for this, so I don't know if it didn't show up, but we have it. I have a copy of it if you need it. And so it is a current restaurant. We're going to replace it with a restaurant. So that's really just for your information.
Are you free to tell us what kind of restaurant?
Yes, it's a pizza restaurant. Yeah, I can give you lots more information. I know all about those. We built several.
Unless somebody has a question, we're content. Any questions for this gentleman? All right, thank you for your time and presence.
No, thank you.
Are there others who want to speak on this item before anything else? We just want a pizza place and get another. Any other persons who wish to speak? If not, is there a person who'd like to make, a commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
Chairman, I'll move to approve Z23-034.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this zoning change. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item's approved. Good luck with your project. Next is Z23-033, NTET Investments LLC.
Yes. Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is zone change request going from RPO, Restricted Professional Office District, to DBAC, Downtown Business Arts and Cultural District. It's located north of the northwest intersection of South Thompson Avenue and Mulberry Street. The applicant is requesting the zone change to bring the property into conformance with the Unified Development Code. The adjacent properties to the north and south are zoned RMF multifamily residential and are developed with single-family homes respectively. The adjacent property to the west is zoned M1 Light Industrial District and is developed with a single-family home. The adjacent properties to the east are zoned C1 and RMF multifamily residential district and are undeveloped. This request is consistent with the future land use guide, which identifies it as high-density mixed use. The proposed zone change aligns with the Tyler First Comprehensive Plan's objectives for development in the north end. The applicant is requesting the zone change in order to renovate an existing triplex and garage apartment. The area is primarily developed with single-family homes and duplexes, which were previously allowed to be built in RMF and M1 zoning. Of the 22 notices mailed, 1 notice was returned in favor and none in opposition to the request. Staff has performed technical review of the request and finds that it is generally consistent with the approval criteria. Staff recommends approval of the zone change request.
All right, any questions from Matthew?
This street I guess redoing the street, are they doing that back as a brick street or do we know?
That I'm not sure, but
It's all torn out.
Yeah, it's completely gone at the moment.
Are there persons here who wish to, don't take that picture off, leave it on the screen, please. Are there persons here who'd like to speak on this item, for or against? Yes, ma'am. If you'd come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Bell. Address is 8620 Biloxi, and I'm the current owner of that property. And the reason that the road is demolished is that they took up the brick streets and they're going to put asphalt down.
And who is this? Who's made this decision?
City of Tyler.
The city of Tyler. It's the whole entire street.
On Mulberry, it's torn up.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe it's Thompson.
Well, it's Thompson,
Thompson.
but it starts at Mulberry, and I think it goes all the way, I'm not sure what the end of that street is, but it goes all the way down.
Sure hope they've kept the bricks somewhere.
They did.
Good.
They stacked them very nice and neatly,
But they're
one
not-
by one.
This is irrelevant, but your understanding is that they're not going to put bricks down, they're going to put asphalt.
Yes. They sent a notice out and they told us what they were going to do.
Any other questions?
I have a question for staff. This appears, I guess it was maybe a couple slides back, this is going to be the only DBAC in the area, basically. I guess we have one of the top left up there. I just wanted to know, like you were talking about, how this conforms with the UDC. So going forward, there's going to be more DBAC in this area as redevelopment happens.
Right, so this property is located within the downtown planning area, identified in the Tyler First plan. And so it's pretty much, Beckham is the eastern boundary of that, so everything between Beckham, Gentry, and Front, in that area there, is eligible to be rezoned to DBAC, because again, it's one of the older areas of town where a lot of the existing housing or businesses or structures currently don't really fit any of the current zoning requirements. And so the idea is to not only to redevelop this area as a downtown serving business and residential use area, but also to, in this case, would be also to bring the existing nonconformities into compliance. So, yeah, you'd expect to see maybe in the future some of these other properties also do the same thing, but there hasn't been a city-driven effort to do that. It's kind of on a case-by-case basis.
Thanks, Scott.
Any other questions?
I did speak with the applicant when she applied for the zone change, and she was stating she could not obtain a building permit to renovate until it was brought into conformance. So I believe that's part of why she's rezoning.
It is. Because that's the only way I couldn't put permits.
Okay.
And I'm trying.
Any other questions for Ms. Bell? If not, thank you for your time and presence. This is, go back to the pictures of the buildings, please, that one. This is completely irrelevant, and but when my parents were very young, we lived in that white building, which was a garage apartment, and I lived there when I was a child. So I'm very familiar with this building, and that's completely irrelevant to the zoning change. Any other questions for staff or for Ms. Bell? Or does our commissioner like to make a motion to tear down my childhood home?
It's not the White House.
I know, it's actually
It's across the street.
next door. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item's approved. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Next is Z23-032 Cartagena, Franklin Cartagena, and Nancy Cartagena. Matthew?
Yes, this is a zone change going from RMF, multifamily residential district, to R2, two-family residential district. It's located east of the northeast intersection of North Albertson Avenue and Wilson Street. The applicant is requesting the zone change to bring the property into conformance with the Unified Development Code. As you can see, all adjacent properties are zoned RMF, and they're developed with residential homes, or they are undeveloped. This request is consistent with the future land use guide, which identifies the property as single-family and single-family attached. The proposed zone change aligns with the Tyler First Comprehensive Plan's objectives for development in the north end. The applicant is requesting the zone change in order to renovate an existing duplex. The area is primarily developed with single-family homes and duplexes, which were previously allowed to be built in RMF zoning. By changing the zoning, it would help the Tyler First goal of increasing housing in the north end. Of the 19 notices mailed, 1 notice was returned in favor and none in opposition to the request. Staff has performed technical review of the request and finds that it is consistent with the approval criteria. Staff recommends approval of the request.
Thanks. Any questions for Matthew? Nice looking, most of the stone.
And that's an existing duplex already.
Yes.
All right, I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this item. Are there persons here who would like to speak on this item for or against? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve Z 23-032. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the zoning change. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're standing in recess after 25 minutes to go across the street. Thanks, everybody.